Welcome everyone to Sizabantu PTY Ltd first lesson, how to configure a software and hardware Siemens using TIA Portal V16. You open your project, open the existing project. Is the first window that is open. This you will use if you have already an existing project. You can click on browse and then it will take you to your C drive or your files. Then you can also press the activate for compactness. You can leave it unticked as I did here. Create a new project, migrate a project if maybe you have a lower version, because you can only migrate from the lower version to the higher version, not from the higher to the lower, or a Schematic manager project. Then you have a welcome tutorial, which is like a tour, which you have to have internet access in order to access it. This is all that you can find here on the tutorial center for TIA Portal. Then I'll close this one. Let's say welcome to. Then you have these are your updates for your software. You can also check it for other updates. Then you have a help section. This one I will deal more in the future videos to explain some of the things that this can be helpful with. It's a very helpful tool for everyone. You also have a user interface language. For my installation, I only have English installation. That's it on this section. Go back to create a new project. Also have online diagnosis. This one you can use if you are connected already to your PLC, and then you go to access devices. It will access the devices on the network depending on which mode of communication you are using. This one is very helpful if you are working with many PLC on your network. Then you choose your mode of communication and you start a search. It will show you the devices on the network. Let's go back to creating a new project. Then I'll write my project name, which will be YouTube lesson 1. I'll also just make a comment of YouTube lesson 1. The path is where your project will be located, and then your version is your version of your TIA portal. And then the order is your name or the PC name. Then you just click on create. Then it will create. It will open another window for now interfacing your hardware to the software. I also have a project view. You can also use a project view. It's more for the intermediate user compared to the beginner's user. This window you can also access it on the top left, just below the start. It's the same thing. Right here, PLC program configure. It's the same thing as on the other side. You can do it in both ways, as I'm doing right now. Just go and click the end first and then add a new device, which will be the same thing as when you go to configure. You can also, and then it will show you like this. You can also show all devices. You can also configure your network. And then it can also show you the existing project that we've just created. You can also do it with project view. It will also do the same thing. This is the three ways in which you can do it, and then you just go and press add a new device. Then you can just select your CPU depending on which PLC you are using. If you are using 1200 or 1500, I always prefer to use the oldest version. Then I'll just go back. This is more of intermediate use. I will do it in a beginner's way. Okay, from here, then you can just press and open the project. This is the project that we just created. So we'll go back to the step that we are at. This is the step that you will go to after you created your project. Then you just click on configure a device, and then you add a new device. This is the same step that I was showing you with the other two methods, but we'll do it in this method. And then from here you can see your controllers, your HMI, and the PC system. For now we'll do the controllers. Then you choose your CPU. I'll do the 1200, and then from the CPUs I'll choose the article number of a PLC that I have here, modern, with the same modern number of the CPU. From here, the article number, the difference is your description, and the description is where it will show you if it supports analog inputs or how many inputs it gave or and outputs, and which mode of communication it can use. I always prefer to choose the older version, especially if I'm not the one who was programming that PLC, because it's always easier to upgrade to the higher version compared to downgrading before you have some communication errors. There is also unspecified version which you can also use. You can also just choose the older version for it, and then you can go to add device. If you are connected to your device already, you can just go to unspecified, but because I know which device, I'll just choose my device and then go to add, because I already have a device with me here. An unspecified CPU is always the best to use in the case whereby you are working in a confined space, but you are able to connect to your PLC, and then you just use the unspecified CPU, and then you will just go on the other side and just say go online. And then you are done. Then this will open your rack. Everything is done in your rack. You can check here. You can start programming. I'll also do more videos. And then here you can also add your analog outputs or inputs, and your digital inputs and outputs. You can also add them on your rack if you're going to need more than you have on your PLC, because this is the compact PLC, which means that it have your outputs and inputs. You can also go to device view. It will show you what your device is capable of by just dragging or by pressing those two black arrows. You can also go to network view. I'll tell more on this on the other videos. It's still going to do. And then you have your CPU. You can also drag, and you can also use that file window at the top there to open the page. Then you can drag the page to the middle of the screen to work it on it properly. The S7-1200 It's also composed of software parts and hardware parts. The hardware is also your inputs, outputs, and power supply. And then the software is you use your TIA Portal for the software. You also have a AC/DC relay, which stands for AC power, DC inputs, relay outputs, and DC power, DC inputs, DC outputs, DC relay, DC power, which is 24 volts, DC inputs, which is 24 volts, relay outputs, AC/DC relay. AC is your AC power, which is 230 on my region, and your DC input, which is 24, and your relay outputs. You also have different type of 1200s. For example, 1212C, 1214C. The C stands for compatibility, which means that it's smaller in size, and it's also have your outputs and inputs. Then now it will depend on the version number. And then you also have a FC, which can be the 1212C, 1214C, 1215C. Those are the only three versions on the fail-safe. FC stands for fail-safe, which is more used for safety features, especially for your elevators, or where you have to have some extra precaution on a stop. Most S7-1200s uses Profinet for communication, but they also use other mode of communication. Thank you. See you on the other video. My question would be the quiz. Please comment on the section which PLC can you use for elevator program. Please also specify the version number in your comment section on which PLC you'll use for an elevator program on all the 1200 that you know.